Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia.
Standing before the world and seeking a seat at the top table.
Why Australia is seeking a place on the UN Security Council in 2029-30.
Calling out unnamed tyrants and autocrats, the Prime Minister pitched Australia as a responsible middle power, striking a very different tone to Donald Trump.
If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail.
On climate change.
Australia is acting to meet the environmental challenge of climate change.
The US largely isolated on the issue. Even China now, for the first time, committing to lower emissions.
We have resolve and confidence to deliver on our commitments.
Xi Jinping joined by video link to pledge a cut of 7 to 10% off peak emissions by 2035.
We, of course, would like there to be more, but it is a step forward.
As the Prime Minister spoke to a climate forum at the New York Times, Energy Minister Chris Bowen was snapped at a separate event alongside the Turkish president's wife, a long-time environmental campaigner. Australia and the Pacific are bidding to co-host next year's Global Climate Summit and are trying to convince Turkey to pull out of the race.
We're just pleading with our friends from Turkey that it's time that we bring the focus to the Pacific.
To our children.
In focus earlier in the day, Australia's social media age limit, a special event held at the UN to encourage other countries to jump on board.
Making it illegal for children to access social media under 16 will improve lives. It will save lives.
Turning grief into a global campaign, Emma Mason spoke powerfully of her daughter Tilly's suicide after horrendous online bullying.
We watch as other parents' children get licences. They graduate. All the things that our babies won't achieve. And it's brutal.
I've been inspired by Australia's example. You're the first to give this a try.
The European Commission President now on board with those who want children banned from social media.
As a mother of 7 and a grandmother of 5, I share their view.
Powerful support and a standing ovation for Emma Mason and Australia's world-leading move. This speech caps off a huge week for the Prime Minister at the UN, recognising Palestine, promoting climate targets and taking on the social media giants. All this while breaking the ice with Donald Trump. Next stop, London, as the Prime Minister stakes out his vision for Australia on the world stage. David Spears, ABC News, New York.
Donald Trump has loomed large over this week's UN General Assembly, but China's Xi Jinping just threw a big rock in the water. After all the US president's disparaging comments about climate change, President Xi today begged to differ. His announcement that China, the world's biggest emitter, will for the first time cut emissions means the world's two superpowers are making completely opposite strategic decisions on energy. This will have huge consequences for the planet. But depending on who is right, it is also likely to determine their respective places in the world economic order. China has already made huge investments in renewable energy. Donald Trump is actively promoting fossil fuels. Once seen as a laggard on emissions reduction, Australia now finds itself somewhere in the middle of the international climate action field.